Co-ops. Co-ops. What about them? A cooperative is a fundamentally different and non-capitalist way of organizing business. Some of you have heard me talk about this in the past, but it needs to be said repeatedly. Capitalism is a system that has a tiny group of people making the decisions that govern each enterprise. If you look at how our corporations work, a tiny number of people, 10, 20, 30, are what we call major shareholders. They own the bulk of the shares. For those of you who don't know, the 1% of shareholders own about 2/3 of all the shares. So that's the 1%, by the way, the shareholders. How do they work? One of the things shareholders get is the right each year to vote for who's on the board of directors. You get 1 vote per share. So if you don't have any shares in a company, that's how many votes you get. Nada, zilch. If you have 10 shares left to you by Grandma Betty, then you get 10 votes. And if you have 10 million shares, you get 10 million votes. The people who have the shares, the 1%, elect whom they want as the board of directors. Board of directors typically has 12 to 20 people. Corporations can vary that. What is the board of directors selected by the shareholders, the major what does it do? It decides what the company produces. It decides how the company produces it. It decides where the company produces it. United States, Shanghai, who knows? And finally, it decides what to do with the profits that all the workers in that enterprise generate. Let's go now. A tiny group of people, major shareholders and the board of directors they select, decides everything about your economic reality, your job, your income, whether your job is there, and what's done with the profits your brain and your muscles help to produce. What power do the workers have over these decisions that shape their lives? Answer, nothing. Zilch. You are affected by the decisions of the people who run your enterprise, but you don't have any control over them. In a democracy, if it means anything, it means that if you're affected by a decision, you have power to participate in making it. That's why we say you can't be the mayor of our town unless you go through an election. We have at least some power over you, not just you telling us what to do. And that's why we elect our congressperson and our senator and all the rest. Politically, we want a democracy. But economically, we've never had a democracy. We don't even think about it. We go into the workplace, we cross the threshold, and we're suddenly in a place where democracy doesn't exist. And we think it's perfectly reasonable. This is a country that is currently bombing or droning half a dozen countries around the world in the name of a democracy we don't have. How the hell are we bringing it anywhere? We got nothing to bring. We got our job here. We don't have democratic economic system. We have an authoritarian economic system. Democracy would be the co-op, a business in which all the workers and the community around them participate. One person, one vote in deciding what happens. The only people who are affected by a corporation are not the tiny group of shareholders and boards of directors. Everybody else is affected, the community, the workers, their family. What's going on? We had a fight, right? We got rid of King George back in the Revolution because he was making taxation without representation. Hey, hello, you work in a place where you are affected 10 different ways economically, and you have no representation at all. The workers in an enterprise have no impact in the decisions, what to produce, how to produce, where to produce, and what to do with the profits. That we accept that should be a shame on us. That the people at the top like it to be this way makes a certain sense. They're sitting at the top, but they're standing right on your face. And why you accept this, that you have to look in the mirror and have a long conversation with yourself to try to figure out. Well, let's be modest. Let's say the American people ought to have a chance to see how a worker co-op works. Let's have people have the freedom to choose between working in a top-down, undemocratic enterprise, that's what we got, as an alternative, also have the opportunity to work in a democratic, cooperative enterprise. Let's see what young people and others entering the labor force, let's let them choose where they'd like to work. I'm ready for that. I'm ready. How about a choice for consumers? How about, imagine with me this, that you're going to buy a shirt, and like we all do, you look at the little label on the back of the shirt because you're kind of interested who made the shirt, and even you get that interesting information, what country it was made in China, or made in India, or made in Bangladesh, or wherever it is. Imagine now with me a new world in which the shirt said name of the company, maybe name of the country, and then produced in an undemocratic, authoritarian, capitalist enterprise, or a democratic worker co-op enterprise, and you could choose. You could use the vote you have when you use your dollar to support one kind of enterprise, because you believe that ought to be more in this country, or the other one. Your choice. I'd love that. Let's have workers be able to choose where they want to work, and consumers choose where they want to buy. And let's see how it goes. You know why we don't have that decision? Because everybody knows where that's going to go. It's like Leonard Cohen's wonderful song, Everybody Knows. If you've never heard that, listen. It's the emblem for our times. Everybody knows. You know. I'm not telling you anything that hasn't flitted through your mind anyway. I'm just putting it all together.